Billy Huber had the assists at 11-19. Any appreciable difference in the face on the first period, Al?
It was very close between the two clubs. Flyers Caps 11 face-on, the Flyers face-offs 1, the Flyers 12, but Dave Poulin was the key. He beat the Capitals 5 times out of 6 in those draws.
Okay, let's check in downstairs now with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. Some interesting statistics from an attendance perspective with the Philadelphia Flyers. This is their 30th home sellout of the year. In fact, since January 1, the Flyers have been involved in 45 games, and 40 of them have been sellouts. Only 5 have not been before full crowds. And of those 5, 3 of those games involve games with the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. A tremendous draw in the National Hockey League, these Philadelphia Flyers. Second period action upcoming here on DC 20. Back upstairs to Mike and Al.
Thanks, Jeff. We're ready to go as Gustafsson leans in here against Sutter. The draw comes back to Howe. Over now to Samuelsson, and he drives it back inside the Washington zone. Both clubs at full strength to start period number 2. Here's Ron Sutter to dig it out. Flips it in front. Wrist shot. Goal by Howe. He beats Peters on the glove side. Philadelphia takes a 2-0 lead. When you watch this wrist shot, watch the action of these wrists. Boy, this is the bloodlines here.
You're right about that, Mike. No question that there is the genes of the Howe family coming to display, but I want to talk about how it's such a quintessential Philadelphia goal. Watch the way they forecheck the Capitals off the puck. Here comes Sutter, or here comes Derek Smith, rather, to check Galley. In comes Sutter behind him. He sets up Mark Howe, streaking in from the point, and like that, in classic Philadelphia fashion, they've jumped on top by 2 before the Capitals can break a sweat in the second period. Now they really face the uphill battle, trying to rally from 2 against this defensive club in this building.
The goal comes just 14 seconds into the period. Ron Sutter and Derek Smith get the assists. And now Hunter of the Capitals is all tied up right alongside the Washington players bench, but behind him there's action going on with Crossman and Adams. Hatcher has a pretty firm grip on Nackbauer. And finally being separated from the whole pile is Murray Craven. That's Mark Howe's 19th goal of the year. He was named the Flyers' best defenseman in the pregame ceremonies here tonight.
You think after an evening of keeping an eye on Paul Coffey trailing the play, coming in from the point, along with Zalapsky and Bodger, people like that, Capitals would have learned a lesson. But they let Howe sneak in behind him. But again, that hard hitting, the great turnovers, you see how the Flyers, again, love to get those 2 people in deep. And that's the problems they can cause with the physical game.
Here's a slap shot by Hatcher that's taken out. On the left wing comes Craven, cutting in, fires, and Hatcher blocks the shot. Into the corner goes Zezel. He's bumped by Greg Smith on the play. The puck thrown right in front, and an easy score missed as Sinisalo was tripped up in front of the Washington net. Flyer fans outraged that there wasn't a call there. The puck cleared into the seats. And Pete Peters breathing a sigh of relief. Sinisalo taken out right in front. And that prevented a clear-cut scoring chance for Philadelphia.
Kevin Hatcher falls asleep. He's got no idea Sinisalo's behind him. He's got to either play the man there or get back in position to cut off that pass from the corner. He does neither. Trips up Sinisalo to no call. The Capitals escape there. If they fall behind 3-0, the way the Flyers have really tightened their game up, they'd be hard-pressed to even mount any kind of comeback. Pete Peters got to be living right. He certainly, if they had scored, it wouldn't have been his fault. Had absolutely no help in that regard. Capitals better wake up in this second period or they'll really find themselves in big trouble. They've got to get something going here.
Here's a drive blocked by Hextall to the corner. Cleared by Crossman up the right wing boards, and now Mellanby starts out to Eklund at center ice. He's across the line, drops it off. Nackbauer a shot, and Peters kicks that away. The Caps clear it out. It comes all the way back to the Philadelphia line. Here's Crossman to play it. Now to Mellanby. He slides it to center ice. Murphy gives it up at the blue line, but recovers and sends it to Bobby Gould. He knocks it down with a high stick, and when he takes possession again, the whistle blows, and now the Flyers want to charge in and rough up Bobby Gould.
What's the point of that? I mean, Bobby Gould's not even in the play, hasn't even touched anybody, and yet Derek Smith's got to come in and do something. Of course, he's got to step in this situation, Mike, and do it on both sides if that's what it takes, but we're going to be here all night if he continues to allow people away from the play without any provocation to come in and get something like that started. That's ridiculous.
I will bet there'll be no penalties coming out of this. There's a break in the action with a score. Philadelphia 2, Washington nothing.
What we've seen tonight, you'll see a lot more in the playoffs, and tickets for playoff games A and B are on sale right now. If the Caps win or tie this evening, games A and B are Wednesday and Thursday night at 7:30 at the Cap Center. If the Caps lose tonight, games A and B will be Saturday and Sunday, the 9th and 10th of April at 7:30. Tickets are available at all Hex ticket centers, or call phone charge at 202-432-0200 or the 800 number 1-800-448-9009. Tonight, operators will be on duty to take your calls until 11 p.m.
Ridley leans in and works the draw against Poulin, sends it back, but Mark Howe takes over now for the Flyers. Over to Samuelson. Kjell Samuelson leads it ahead to center, and it goes into the crowd and out of play. Now Jeff Rimmer talking about some of the Philadelphia attendance figures, and the Caps certainly deserve a pat on the back for some very impressive numbers that they put together in their building this year at the Capitol Center. Total home attendance this season for Washington, 638,213 fans through the 40 home dates. The Caps sold out 13 times. Both those are records for the Washington Capitals, with an average attendance this year of 15,955.
Under the guise of Lou Strudler, it continues to grow every single year. Attendance up overall in the National Hockey League, which is a real great sign for the last couple of seasons.
Here's Miller digging it free, back to the point. Scott Stevens in on the left wing side. Slovanka tries to keep it in, but now Stevens goes in and wants a piece of Kjell Samuelson, and there are going to be penalties here. Now Kerr and Stevens wind up talking it over. Scott Stevens is on his way to the box. Samuelson wants to come after Stevens, and Stevens is upset with John Koharski. Looks like there's going to be a Philadelphia penalty too, and Samuelson also goes in to take a seat.
There were going to be penalties of both Stevens and Samuelson for slashing, but what Scott Stevens did was he started in towards Kjell Samuelson, and Samuelson, who you think wouldn't have to with the size he's got, kept that stick out in front of him, almost using it like a spear, but it was Scott Stevens who really ran into Samuelson's stick. Didn't really see Samuelson use it to jab it out, but Samuelson kept it out there. Stevens ran into him to initiate the contact. These will be coincidental minors.
2 minutes each for high sticking to both Stevens and Samuelson. It doesn't affect the manpower on the ice. 5 skaters aside, and the face-off just inside the Philadelphia blue line. Time of the penalty call is 2:10. Hextall with a quick glove save. Starts it out to Mark Howe. Up on the right wing now to Dave Brown. Tries to thread the needle right through to Derek Smith, but that's broken up, and here's Gartner to start out. He flips it all the way down the ice. Icing's been waved off. Hextall bumped by Ivan Corvo, who had been spilled, and now here come the Flyers out. Derek Smith's long drive just missing wide. We welcome our viewers from ESPN, Mike Forns with Al Koken and Jeff Rimmer here on DC 20 tonight. We've got a 2-0 hockey game with the Philadelphia Flyers in the lead over the Washington Capitals. Goals by Brian Propp in the first period and Mark Howe here in period number 2.
But right now, the Flyers seem to be taking a bit of control in this hockey game with the forechecking. You see a turnover committed there. Hatcher just dumping it up the boards, and Willie Huber, the point man, to take the shot on goal. That's how Mark Howe got his tally at the 14-second mark of this second period, with some great forechecking by Sutter and Derek Smith to set up Mark Howe. Before that, Greg Smith of the Capitals had a drive. Coming in from the point, Hextall sees it clearly, gets the glove up on it, and will drop it off for his defenseman Howe.
Hunter for the Capitals to oppose Peter Zezel, and Hunter beats him on the draw, but quickly flips it up into the crowd. Hunter given a 5-minute major for high sticking back in the first period when he went after Dave Poulin. Felt that Poulin had gotten away with an awful lot against several Washington players.
Mike, this was the team David Poile had in mind when he acquired Dale Hunter. You need a guy like that to match up not only the toughness, but you look how he does the job on the faceoffs as well. That was a dimension missing from the Capitals the last few seasons.
Down the left wing comes Greg Adams. He can't get past Crossman. Hunter throws it rink wide. Here's Murphy, a shot. Knocked down. A rebound. Swing and a miss by Adams right in front. And the puck cleared out to center ice. Ledyard drives it back into the Philadelphia zone, and here goes Marsh to get it. Brad Marsh over to Crossman. Crossman bumped on the play by Adams. It's cleared all the way down, and Ledyard's back for it. Over now to Murphy. Up the wing it goes to Hunter. Now we've got Murphy, the center of some controversy, as he and Zezel were involved to the side of the net behind the play, and Murphy's being ushered to the penalty box. We'll see if we'll get a look at this when we come back. There's a break in the action with a score.
Play with Larry Murphy getting a roughing call. You see how Zezel tried to run him, and then Murphy responds with a stick up to the head. 2 minutes for roughing is the call for Larry Murphy. You know, or he's going to go cross-checking. I saw Don Koharski make the roughing call. The official call, I guess, then is going to be cross-checking. You know, in that regard, the Capitals don't need to give the Flyers another power play chance, but isn't that a good omen to see Larry Murphy respond with some aggressiveness that seems to have been lacking from his game for a couple weeks?
Well, it is. Maybe Koharski was confused with what had just happened to Murphy. Maybe he was thinking of that roughing. Puck cleared outside the line, and it goes all the way back into the Philadelphia zone. Hextall leaves it back for Mark Howe. 1:30 remaining on the Flyer power play. Here comes Eklund across the line, but he slows up a bit at the blue line. That throws Mark Howe offside.
And you see Tim Kerr getting up from the collision with Greg Smith. This is something I would like to see the referees in the National Hockey League crack down on, is that interference pick call, either when you drag a guy across the line to force him offside, or in a situation like that, where Tim Kerr literally becomes a blocker and just takes Greg Smith out of the way to open up a lane. Now, to me, that is just clear-cut interference, and it rarely gets called, unlike some of the interference plays right in front of the net.
Kerr ready to oppose Gustafsson here as Ron Finn steps in for some instructions. Gus wins the faceoff, brings it right back to Kevin Hatcher. 1:20 left in the penalty call to Larry Murphy. Hextall leaves it behind the net. Huber starts out. Lead pass to Prop back into the Washington zone. Here's Hatcher to again clear at the length of the ice. Mark Howe brings it up to center. Huber goes to the corner after it, but Peters gets there first. Plays it up the board. Kerr puts it back behind the net. Here's Eklund. Up to Huber at center point. He drives it off the stick of Gustafsson wide. Now Kerr in the corner. Throws it right in front off Hatcher. And the Flyers able to keep it in thanks to a dive by Mark Howe. Here's Hatcher whipping it off the boards, and he sends it the length of the ice. Hextall quickly bats it right up the middle, but it comes to Ledyard at the Washington line. Both clubs changing on the fly. Here's Ledyard walking in. He winds up, slams a shot on net, and Hextall had to make a save with his chest. Prop starts out for Philadelphia. Left wing side. He's crunched by Greg Smith. Now Craven a shot, deflected wide of the goal. Mellenby on his backhand. Turns it around, fires. And that one popped up into the crowd just as the penalty expires to Larry Murphy. And the Capitals are back at full strength. Also, Stevens and Samuelson are now released from the penalty boxes. So both clubs with all their players again available for action. Pete Peters, no wins, 3 losses. losses and a tie in his last 4 outings. Last victory came on March the 16th at Madison Square Garden against the Rangers. He beat them 8-4. Since then, Pete was the number 2 star against Detroit in that 2-2 overtime game just last week. Ridley leans in for the draw. It comes back to Crossman as the Flyers take it. Now it's thrown to the corner. Here's Pavanka. Tries to tap it out, but Poulin grabs the puck. He puts it in the corner. Knockbauer pushed around by Galley. And they finally freeze it. Just as the puck comes loose, the whistle blows. Play is called with 14:13 to go in the second period.
Mike, you talk about Pete Peters. You know, we can break this down into an individual situation, and maybe the single most important factor heading into the playoffs is setting up your goaltender and getting that hot goaltending. Brian Murray decided last night to go with Malarchuk and definitely go with Peters tonight. So in this regard, it's a real situation for Pete Peters literally to step in and establish himself as the playoff goaltender, at least for the start of the playoffs. Right now, a good performance would guarantee that almost. So you're looking at an individual situation here.
Here's Ridley against Poulin. Ridley brings it to the backboards for Scott Stevens. Stevens flips it up the middle, just missing Ridley's stick. Flyers again put it back in Washington ice. 2-0 Philadelphia with 14 minutes to play here in the second period. Loose puck right across the Washington goal mouth. Here comes Galley back to the Capitals. Inside the Philadelphia zone. Out at center ice, Galley drives it on in. Pavanka tries to stop it at the blue line. It's picked up by Poulin. Galley bumps Poulin. Peters stops it behind the net. Stevens sends it to the point. Samuelson keeps it in play. Back to Mellanby. Now Scott Stevens over to get it. Leads it up the middle of the point. Howe keeps it in play, and now Pavanka clears it back to center ice. The Capitals did not dress Rod Langway for this game, nor Ed Kastelik, nor Lou Francischetti. Trying to rest Langway for the playoffs. Here's Mike Ridley. Takes it free. Stevens has got the stick swinging now, going with Sutter back inside the Washington zone, and Ron Finn in there to hurry to try and pull them apart. And there will be minor penalties. Now Dave Brown steps in and has something to say, and he's getting a warning from Don Koharski. There's a break in the action with a score. The Flyers 2 and the Capitals.
Back in the box is Scott Stevens. He is joined by Ron Sutter of the Flyers. Both get slashing calls at 6:57. Seemed like in the first period, Philadelphia had the number of 32 in their mind, going after Dale Hunter at every opportunity. So far in the second period, every time Scott Stevens is out on the ice, somebody from Philadelphia is trying to challenge him.
Greg Adams puts it in behind the Flyer net. Here's Marsh to clear it to the point. Hatcher tries to keep it in, but it's brought out to center now for Marsh. Adams ties him up. We've got a penalty call coming up. A delayed call against Washington. Out of the nets comes Hextall. Flyers throw a sixth attacker out there. Here's Crossman. Left wing side. Lead pass had Eklund sprung behind Smith and Hatcher, but it gets away from him, goes all the way down, and Peters is back to get it. And there will be a minor penalty for high sticking now coming against the Capitals at 7:29 of the second period. It's going to be Greg Adams going to the box. I wonder how far away the day is when instead of pulling Ron Hextall for a sixth attacker, they'll just let him skate up ice on the play. He could be a pretty good point man.
He'll go by the bench, flip his goaltender stick in, be handed a regular skater stick, and be the sixth attacker. You see, here's where Greg Adams gets the stick. It's the way the stick finishes off the play. Brian Murray's telling his players, use the stick, hold on to these guys, and slow them down a bit. But when that stick rose up to the face of Brad Marsh, Don Koharski makes the right call for high sticking.
Tim Kerr out there now with Propp and Eklund, Howe and Huber. Cap penalty killers, Hatcher with Smith, Gustafson, and Sundstrom. Sundstrom holds his man Howe off, but Howe gets a piece of Sundstrom too. The Flyers still have possession. Willie Huber dumps it back into the Washington zone. Kevin Hatcher out of the corner to the point, but not out. Kept in by Howe. He hits Kerr with a pass at the side of the net. And that's stolen by Greg Smith and cleared all the way down the ice. Smooth skating Mark Howe. Leads it rink wide for Tim Kerr at the Washington blue line. He puts it right in front for Eklund. He shoots, hits the side of the net. Hatcher tries to keep it going out of the corner. Now Eklund grabs it behind the goal. He centers it. Smith couldn't block it. Kerr's shot hit the side of the goal. Now it goes up over the glass. The spectator touched the puck, then it came back out on the ice.
Really the first chance Tim Kerr has had all night on the power play from the position he likes. He's planted, and boy, does he have some time to get it away. Very late coming in to get rid of, or to get a little shot at Tim Kerr, the Capitals defenseman. When he can set himself right there and you find him, if you don't have a body draped on him, he'll score almost half the time from that situation.
Richard Brodeurs in goal for Hartford tonight. Steve Gannett, who we saw last night for the Penguins, playing for Pittsburgh again this evening. And Dan Quinn's 39th goal of the year. They've given Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead over the Whalers. They're now in the second period of that game. Reggie Lemlin in goal for Boston against Billy Smith for the Islanders. Tom McCarthy with the lone score, giving Boston a 1-0 lead over New York. Right here, it's the Flyers 2, the Capitals nothing. 11:25 to play in the second period. Kelly Miller sends the puck all the way down the ice with 45 seconds still left on Greg Adams' penalty call for high sticking. This is Mark Howe. Dumps it into the corner. Pete Peters plays it back up the boards, and Miller can't clear it out. Back it comes again to Murphy. He sends it up the sideboards all the way back into the Flyer zone. Scott Mellanby rushes the puck to center. Long slap shot, caught by Peters, dishes it back to the corner. Christian gets it out to neutral territory, but now Mellanby responds, and Christian has to go back after him. Scott Mellanby. Over to Shell Samuelson to the Washington line. Ledyard to the Capitals, starts ahead. Over to Greg Adams. He dumps it back inside the Flyer zone. Both clubs changing on the fly. Penalties over to Adams, and the Caps at full strength. Samuelson clears it up the boards. Greg Smith back at his own line. Looks for Gartner on the right wing. Samuelson and Gartner go to the corner after it. Finally, it's touched back there. Play has been called with 9:59 to go in the second period. There's a break in the action with the score. The Flyers 2 and the Capitals nothing.
At the half, they lead the New Jersey Nets 60-52. We hope you're with WDCA TV 20 Tuesday night, the 5th of April, as the Bullets travel to Chicago for an important Eastern Conference game against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. It's live at 8:30 p.m. Join Mel Proctor and Phil Chenier as they call all the action right here on your superstation for sports, DC 20.
Ron Sutter and Scott Stevens have been released from the penalty boxes. The boxes are empty for the moment, but Dave Brown and Scott Stevens are swinging sticks at this very moment. Here's Galley chasing it behind the net. Brown and Stevens collide behind the net. The puck centered. Here's Ron Sutter, a wrist shot. Galley blocks it. Rebound sent wide by Sutter. He put it right to the goal, and Peters just got a piece of it. Stevens and Brown work on one another at the goal line. Hunter plays it up the right wing boards for Dave Christian. He's rubbed out by Derek Smith. Adams goes after Mark Howe. Here comes Shell Samuelson. All the way back into the Washington zone. Sutter digs it out, throws it into the corner. And the Capitals start back. Scott Stevens, lead pass, gets away from Christian. And Howe is back after it. Over to Derek Smith. Smith plays it ahead to center. Ron Sutter checked by Hatcher at the blue line. Scott Stevens back to take it, and he clears it all the way down right on goal. Here's Tim Kerr into the Washington zone. Flips it in front for Poulin. He's twisted off his skates by Greg Smith. Nothing called. Pivonka to the corner. Poulin and Smith tie it up. It's cleared behind the net, and Propp has to go to the corner after it. Drops it back for Dave Poulin. Tries to put it in front again for Kerr. It's bumped away by Peters, but the Caps are able to clear it out of the zone. It goes all the way back into the Philadelphia end. Washington line change underway. Greg Smith back to pick it up behind Pete Peters. Flyers lead 2-0. 8:10 to go, second period. Greg Smith off the sideboards to center ice. Brian Propp for Philadelphia leads it up the middle, looking for Kerr. It goes all the way down, and Smith is back to get it behind the goal. Avoids a hit from Zezel, starts out to Ridley. And now at center ice. Here comes Kelly Miller across the blue line. Over to Ridley in the corner. Hextall way out of the net. But Crossman is there, and he gets the puck. Doug Crossman. Slap shot, kicked aside by Peters. Over to Larry Murphy. Murphy out to Ridley. Taken over by Marsh in neutral ice. He hits Sinisalo on the right wing. Corriveau checks him, and Zezel's knocked to the ice by Ridley. Back comes Corriveau. Swept away by Sinisalo. Over to Doug Crossman. Action right in front of the Washington bench. Gustafson brings it back now for Grant Ledyard. He gives to Corriveau. Corriveau ahead for Gartner on the left wing. Looks for Murphy. Bounces off his stick. Craven overskates it. Comes back to get the puck in the corner. He caroms it off the boards to Sinisalo. Now to Zezel. Inside the Washington zone. Tries to get past Murphy. Huber a blast. Rebound. They score. Peters felt the puck was kicked in by Sinisalo, and Murphy is raving mad about it too. A pinball type of play, and they felt that Craven had kicked it right from the side of the net.
And I think they're going to get the call. I think linesman Ron Finn came in to tell Koharski that Peters and the Capitals are right. Let's watch it. Watch how Sinisalo will set himself on the side. There he is to the top left of your screen. Now, does he kick it in? No question about it. That's that European influence. He's done that with a soccer ball in his formative years, and certainly do it with a hockey puck. A nice little back kick.
Looks a little guilty to me.
Don Koharski was going to allow it. Ron Finn was the linesman who came in and confirmed what Pete Peters and the Capitals were arguing about. So the Flyers have had 2 goals disallowed tonight. One because it was knocked in with a high stick from Brian Propp. Now Ilka Sinisalo is denied because he kicked it in. So it still is a 2-0 game with the Flyers on top.
Face off out of neutral ice. Gould and Eklund. Brought back to Marsh. Wide of the Capitals goal, and Stevens plays it up the boards. Nachbauer fires right on net. Don Nachbauer behind the goal to Mellanby. Mellanby checked on the play by Scott Stevens. Thrown back to the goal. Here's Bobby Gould. Up the boards, Nachbauer. Again behind the Washington goal. Here's Galley for the Capitals. Plays it all the way down. This will be icing. Marsh goes back to get it. The faceoff comes back to the Washington zone with 6:16 to play in the second period. There's a break in the action with the score. The Flyers 2, the Capitals nothing.
If your car needs a tune-up, there are lots of choices open to you. But how many use trained certified technicians? How many do over 1 million tune-ups a year for a low price? And who fully guarantees every tune-up for 12 months or 12,000 miles? Only one is America's #1 tune-up specialist, Precision Tune.
There's 6:16 left to go in this second period. Philly on top 2-0. I'd like to say hello to the Bob Gould Ed Castling fan club at section 220 back at the Capitol Center. Bob Hall and Gary Roos. Want to pass on those good wishes and happy birthday to Andrew Eisenberg from Paul Jolovitz, who works up here in Philadelphia for the Prism television network.
Sutter backed out of there now by linesman Kevin Collins, and Dave Brown steps in to oppose Hunter. This ought to be an interesting matchup. And I don't mean to see who gets possession of the puck. Well, not a lot of contact, and the Caps come away with it. Here comes Christian down the right wing. Christian shoved aside by Marsh in the corner. At At the point is Greg Smith. A slap shot blocked. The puck sent right in. It looked like it may have gone in the goal. Hextall sprawled in front. The puck took a crazy bounce and must have hit his pad. But it looked from this angle like that puck might have hit something right in front. I don't think it was all the way across the line. Now let's watch it.
That's exactly what happened as Dale Hunter just backhands it in front. It crawls up on the pad and over the pad and right behind Ron Hextall. But he is quick enough to recover. That really is the only time the Capitals have been close to the Flyer goal in this second period. You can guarantee yourself the best seat available for all the Cap Home playoff games. Just put down a deposit on a season ticket or a partial plan for next year. That entitles you to purchase the best available tickets to all the Cap Home playoff games. If you'd like more information on that, give the Cap sales reps a call right now at 386-7000. 386-7000. Those folks will be standing by throughout tonight's hockey game.
Craig Simpson has scored his 56th goal of the season for Edmonton. Oilers leading Los Angeles 1-0. Rolly Melanson in goal for the Kings. Grant Fuhr for the Oilers. Here's Shel Samuelson behind the Philadelphia net. Plays it up the boards. Sezel is hit. The puck comes out to center ice, and Dale Hunter takes over. Hunter puts it in the air back to the blue line. Mark Howe gets it there. Still in neutral ice. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Hextall dumps it into the corner. Howe keeps it going, and Christian tries to knock it down, but Howe rushes ahead to center ice. Here's Mark Howe. Now we've got Samuelson and Hunter behind the play, swinging sticks. Here's Greg Smith stealing in front of the Washington net. Leads it ahead for Hunter, and that's offside. Howe walks right between Samuelson and Hunter. Hunter kind of waves his stick at Hextall as he skates past the Philadelphia net.
Well, it all begins with Hunter and Samuelson, and they've got a hold of each other's stick. Ron Finn gets in between the two, and then Dale Hunter, as he's headed to the Capitals players bench, has words with a couple more Flyers. See why these games between the Caps and the Flyers take so long, and if you're going to come out to the Capitol Center and watch them in the playoffs, pack some extra provisions, because I'll guarantee you those things will take a while.
Now Boston's got a 3-1 lead on the Islanders tonight. Alan Kerr is 24th of the year for New York. Tom McCarthy for Boston. Ken Linzman's 29th. Keith Crowder his 17th of the season. Buffalo's up on Montreal 2-1. Dave Andrechuk's 30th of the year, and Mike Foligno has also scored for Buffalo. Brian Skrudland for the Canadiens. Ryan Hayward in goal for the Canadiens, and Tom Barrasso for Buffalo. Here's Michael Pavanka to start out. Up to center ice, gets across the blue line. Pavanka tries to flip it toward the goal. It's picked up by Kelly Miller, and Kerr sweep checks it away. Here's Kerr dumping it back inside the Washington zone. Murphy skates to the corner and leads it ahead past Ridley out to center. Marsh to get it. Back to the line for Poulin. It's pressed in behind the Capitals goal, and Larry Murphy goes after it. He flips it all the way down. The icing's waved off. Crossman gets to it well before the goal line. 4.5 minutes to play here in the second period. The Flyers lead 2-0. Peters behind the net, puts it right on the stick of Mellanby. He centers. Kropp tries to knock down a puck well above the shoulder, but doesn't get to it. Now here's Corriveau. Out to the Philadelphia blue line. Mellanby winds up and blasts the puck, trying to clear it out, and that hits Corriveau right in the face. And trainer Stan Wong out quickly to have a look at the Capitals rookie winger.
Ivan Corriveau does not wear a face shield. Let's see if this bounces off the boards and hits him in the face. We got the great angle for it. Yeah. Right, it looks like it's right there on that. Like it almost caught him by the chin where I saw it, but he reached up almost like he was grabbing his eye.
Ivan maybe feeling a bit of pain here, and we'll see if he has been cut by the puck, but I will guarantee you that when this season is over, he won't think as much about this puck hitting him as he'll think about Bob Probert from Detroit when those two got into a skirmish. Ivan can take a little bit of a look at the way things happen. You know, he was laughing the other day talking about it. There he looks like he's all right. He was saying that, you know, nobody's ever hit him so hard as Bob Probert did in that fight, but Ivan got in a good lick himself. There's a break in the action with a score.
The Flyers.
Washington zone, the Flyers have the lead 2-0. Here's Bengt Gustafsson with the puck. He brings it over to Gary Galley. Gustafsson to the blue line, inside the Philadelphia zone to Greg Adams. Wrist shot knocked down by Marsh. Marsh flips it ahead to center ice. Galley makes the play there to Gartner. Mike Gartner on the right wing tries to get by Marsh. He does. He goes to the corner with Gustafsson. Here's a wrist shot. A save made by Hextall. The puck cleared off the board. Stevens keeps it inside the line. Centers it to Gartner. He goes over to Galley on the right wing. Now Derek Smith skates it away. Starts to center. Passes ahead in neutral ice, but Greg Adams comes up with it now for the Capitals. He gives to Gary Galley. Behind the back pass to Gartner. Cutting in. Faking. Goes to the point man, and Sinisalo steals. He starts back to Craven. Greg Smith in there to provide a good poke check to clear the puck. Now here's a centering pass, and Sundstrom has it. He sends it to the point, but not out. Samuelsson keeps it going. Back of the net for Zezel. Ilka Sinisalo walking in, can't get the shot off, and Steve Leach on the ice for the Capitals flips it all the way back inside the Philadelphia zone. 2.5 minutes to play here in the second period. Philadelphia with a 2-0 lead. Hatcher had a check set up for Craven, but missed him. Here's Zezel with the puck. Samuelsson has it tipped free, and as it's picked up by Hatcher, the play has already been called back anyway. Offside against the Flyers.
Greg Smith showed me something that he still has a little bit of speed left in those legs. The way he caught up with Murray Craven, one of the fastest skaters on the Philadelphia Flyers, and made a brilliant play to poke the check away from the onrushing Craven. This is also then here comes the chance for Ilka Sinisalo, and look how easily he's able to walk out there. Pete Peters has to come up again with a stick and pad save.
Best line that Corvo had about Probert, he was talking about being punched, and he said, you know, I've been hit here on the forehead. He pointed to 2 spots on his nose, 1 spot on his lip. He said, all those places. He said, you know, that was from one fist.
Well, there was that look when he turned around and saw it was Probert. You could just see for a second there, it's like, okay, I got to go through with this. I'm not thrilled about it, but I got to go through with it. And
nobody would have said a word had he just said, hey,
Nope.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it, you know. Probert has a reputation for really being able to throw them, and I guess has done quite a bit of training under a professional boxing trainer in Detroit, and it has apparently something clicked in him this year that has really brought his pugilistic ability around, and his Detroit teammates have nothing but respect, and they say they just have not seen anybody come close to him.
No, I think everybody in the league agrees with that right now, although I would have liked to have seen, if there is a fight going to take place, I wanted to see Kevin Hatcher with him. Also a guy from Detroit who did a little training at the Kronk gym. Let's see.
A little better size match up there, too.
The tail of the tape.
Here's Hatcher to start out now for the Capitals. Spun around at his own line and back to chase the puck. And Greg Smith is in to get it. Poulin falls on top of it. And Ridley digs it free. 1:55 to go, second period. Caps have yet to get on the scoreboard. They trailed 2-0 to the Flyers. Here's Pavanka to center ice. Puts it back inside the Philadelphia zone. Hextall back to play it. Up the boards. Propp grabs it there. He starts out. Up to Poulin on the left wing. Hatcher goes right after him, and the puck drifts on goal, and Peters scoops it up with a glove to stop play.
Mike, that's a great example, that last little exchange there, of exactly what the Flyers have been doing in this period. Capitals come up ice. There are 3 Philadelphia Flyers stacked up at the blue line, the 2 defensemen, and in that case, Dave Poulin. And then the Capitals turn it over, and right back comes the man, Dave Poulin. Here's the ability to get back in that play and make it 3-on-2 at the other end, and you stop 2 men coming in for the Capitals with 3 defensemen. I'd be willing to bet that this is one of the finest periods of hockey the Philadelphia Flyers have played all year in the sense of their overall team defense. At no time in this second period have the Capitals had a clear shot at Ron Hextall in that slot area. Every single thing they've had has been from the points in the perimeter, off to the angles, and that one little bouncing puck that Hextall had trouble with. Not one single thing in that slot area, as the Flyers have played things perfectly, and they certainly have had some decent pressure on Pete Peters at the other end. Great bit of two-way work in this period for Philadelphia.
Here's Murphy in the corner, chased by Dave Brown. Sutter comes out, but again, Peters is able to scoop it up as Sutter tries a centering pass. Murphy blocks it.
And on the flip side, this is probably, again, a good period for the Capitals when you think about all the problems they have had in getting teams so many wide open chances. Philadelphia's had chances, but not a bunch of quality shots. They've done a pretty good job of keeping things clear in front of Pete Peters for the most part, and yet they're behind 2-0. This shows you the level of intensity the Flyers can get to when they have got everybody healthy.
Caps have but 6 shots on goal in this period, while Philadelphia has 13. Here's Ledyard. Moves it up the boards for Greg Adams. He's got Crossman wrestling him to the ice, and here's Hunter to start out to center. Hunter throws it back inside the Flyers zone. Hextall backhands it to the corner. We're in the final minute of play now in the second period. Crossman up ahead for Derek Smith. Larry Murphy tries to poke it free. Gives to Greg Adams. Out to center. Crossman back to take it. Inside the Washington zone, and Larry Murphy. Murphy plays it to Greg Adams. Rink-wide pass now for Grant Ledyard. 35 seconds to go. Ledyard winds, fires, skate save made by Hextall. He just got a piece of that. On the backboards, Marsh and Christian. Trying to dig the puck free. Hunter is being held by Brown. A backhand shot goes just wide from Christian. Up the boards, the puck cleared to Ledyard. His wrist shot knocked down. 15 seconds to go in the period. Here's Hunter behind the net. Capitals buzzing in the Flyers zone. Hextall tries to move it away, and the Flyers clear it all the way down as time runs out in the period. Now, there's going to be an icing call here as time runs out. I think they're going to rule that's the end of the period. So, looked like there would be 1 second left as the whistle blew, but the second period has closed out. Shots on goal in period number 2. Washington coming up with 7 for a 2-period total of 13 shots. And Philadelphia, with 13 shots on goal in the second period, they have 23 on the night. More hockey from the Spectrum in Philadelphia.